Good morning, everyone. And again, this is your weekly podcast, Knowledge and Powers. And with you is me, Kat. 안녕하세요. And then we have Baruch.
Hello.
And we have Klaj.
Dobre ráno. Good morning, everyone.
I've learned a new word, and it's called pogoshipta. And it means...
Go.
I miss you.
Oh. That must be from Korean drama, isn't it?
No, it's from song.
Oh.
Pogoshipta.
I will remember that.
Like, no, actually, I already put down so many words down from different kind of songs, and I have a class on Friday, so that will be fun to learn what they mean.
You will basically sing to your mentor.
No. Nope. So guys, last week we talked about manager role.
Yes, and you gave quite an introduction to that. And also, actually it sounded pretty good, Kat. Like if I wanted to be a manager, it sounded like if I want to help my colleagues, I should become a manager. But is it really that easy a job? I mean, it must be, there must be some catch, right? Did you love all of it?
No.
No?
There are also so-called unpopular tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most boring ones is administration. So it really depends on the country where you are at. But here in Slovakia, when you are up to your 32, you are eligible for 20 days of vacation. And when you are 33 and above, you're eligible for 25 days of vacation. And if you have 29 people that reports to you, you can imagine how many requests just for vacation I received. And you literally really had to go to the tools every day and just check by end of the day, did any of your team member requested vacation or a sick leave, or they were at the doctor visits or whatever, that you had to go and approve. And that was on a daily. And then also on a monthly basis, I also had to approve the timetable of every employee. So these were my really unpopular task and most boring one as well. Approve. Horrible. So yeah, these are the, let's say, the most boring one.
Is it the legislation which force you to be the approver, or is it just the company logic behind that?
To be honest, I don't know, but it's actually in every company. So maybe it is a legislation. I honestly don't know.
It's definitely not in every company.
Like, you need to approve a person's vacation. So far, in every company I worked at, the manager had to approve it. It depended on the company. Some had like a paper form still, and others had it electronically, but the manager had to approve it. For example, here the timetable is automatically done, but vacation or vacation, and then the benefits that the company give you, like additional vacation or additional self-recovery days, manager had to approve. So I don't know.
Well, isn't the law here that as soon as you are working, your employer is responsible for you, right? For your health and such stuff. Doesn't matter where you are.
Like, you as a manager, you have to know where your employee is at. Mm-hmm. And I also think why you are approving the vacations, because it can happen that the employee would request vacation, for example, when you have an absolute high peak work and you really need them to be at work. Mm-hmm. You as a manager you don't have to approve it. Like you can disapprove it. That never happened to me. Actually, what happened to me was the quite opposite. You as a manager, you can send an employee on a 2 weeks vacation, for example. Like if they are not spending the days of vacation, you can send them on 2 weeks. And I had once a very young guy in my team. He was 19 and already 6 months in the company. And I'm like, hey, listen, we're already in July and you need to start spending. I will. And still nothing. And then I discussed with him, okay, you need to go on vacation, but I have nowhere to go to. And I'm like, yeah, but you have so many days. And I literally had to send him on 2 weeks vacation. When I had 29 people reporting to me, and I didn't want you to get bothered with whatever policies are stating me, HR is pressuring you, center lead is pressuring you, I just clean my table. Look, you go for vacation, done. Because I'm really thinking of way more steps forward than just what is here right now. And really, he was so young, and even if you are at the company just 6 months, every single one of us should take vacation, even if you are just not doing anything. But to have that break, it just helps. And whether you're young or older or workaholic, you need to start learning to relax a bit. It's necessary. And so
there is actually the benefit of unlimited vacations in some companies here, from what I know. And I'm going to name O2, Telefonica, or what is the official name or the brand there. And I was on one of their webinars regarding burnout and all that stuff. They were talking like, okay, we have this benefit that any employee can take any amount of vacation they want to.
Wow.
Any, like if they take 30 days for months, it's up to them. Like it's really up to their decision. But what are the results is interesting, because from what I know, when it comes to statistics and analysis of these vacations, in general, when we flatten the statistics down, people take less vacation than that it's mandatory.
That's interesting. Why do you think that is?
Before you answer, I also read an article that BMW in Germany has the same. And when they made the statistics, people took yearly about 25 days in average, even if they had unlimited, but that was the average they had.
When it comes to why I think that happens, I don't know. Basically, it could be many reasons. One of those could be that their population, general population they hire, have less inclined going for vacation, like what Kat said. Maybe they are just mostly younger people who don't have that much life going on. No, sorry, no, sorry, not sorry. but that's what what I feel like. Maybe it's that they don't wish to take the vacation because they don't need it at the time. Maybe they are not that much under the stress, so they don't need to take the vacation. Maybe, I don't know. That's a question for the companies like that and for the guys there.
And maybe you do a job that you really like and you are just enjoying it, so you don't feel like going on vacation.
Could be. There could be other motivators like fear, like if you skip one day, you there you go, you're losing the money or something like that. I don't know. It could be multiple motivators, and I think that
project is off the track and everything is going to hell. And...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's now move on to the hard task of a manager. And I'll tell you one of my most stressful situation, and then for me the most weirdest feeling I had. when a team member approached me and said that another team member is drunk.
Oh.
And I asked him, is that an official report or accusational report? And he was like, yes. Okay. And I had about 30 minutes to, I was the team leader at that time, so I had to call my manager who was on vacation. So I called him and I told the situation, and he was like, okay, call this manager, call HR, and follow everything that needs to be there. And so I called the HR, explained the situation. I called the standing manager, explained the situation. He called my manager. And at the end, within 30 minutes, we end up in a room. There was just so many people inside. Even the person from like facility, security, health and safety security person. And then there was this blowing machine upon which you had to blow. It calculated how much alcohol is within you. Then you had to sign the protocol. And he was even explaining to the guy, like, if you don't have to agree with taking the test for the alcohol. However, you will need to go to a medical center and your blood will need to be taken and measured. And the guy looked at him and was like, doesn't matter whether you would take my blood or I would blow, I know that there is alcohol in me. And it was really, I was just sitting there observing, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then of course he had to sign the protocol and everyone else. And because this is a disciplinary breach of a contract, the person has been fired because of that. And in Slovakia, and this is not what many employees are fully aware, but every time you leave a company and you go to another company, you receive a paper that actually states you how many years you work for the company. And you are taking that paper to another company, so your retirement years could be calculated. But on that piece of paper, there is also on the bottom line, and there is written the paragraph of the law upon which you ended the contract with the company. And when you are fired, there is a different paragraph for that. And that's how the new company will find out how did you end the contract with the previous company. And so you have the choice not to give that paper to the company. But imagine you will be 60 and let's say you worked 5 years for the company and then like, I want to go to retirement. You're missing 5 years. Where did my 5 years go? Especially like, yeah, we have a social insurance, but not always they have tidiness in their own system as well. And you need to make sure you have copies of all of those years that you worked at the company, just so you can fight for your retirement eligibility. So you need to make sure you have those papers. So be careful for this. So that was the weirdest one.
Was the person actually someone who like troublemaker?
He used to drink when they went out with guys, but usually when he went over, the next day he called sick. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why he didn't call sick this day. I literally don't get it, like why. Mm-hmm. But I had to deal with it because it was officially reported to me.
Okay.
So really, it was so weird. So really,
if it wasn't, what would you have done?
If it wasn't reported officially?
Yeah, like the person would say, is this official report? No. Then what?
I would go and speak to him and I would just go, hey man, people can smell alcohol from you. Go and take a self-recovery. Go home. Like, this is so strange. I was even telling yesterday to my manager that during the socialist time, then you can speak to your parents, but the law was still there. Like, you are not allowed to drink alcohol at work. But it was very common that no matter which company you went to, it was very common that people were drinking alcohol at the workplace and were smoking in the offices as well. That was so common. And then we had the Velvet Revolution or Summit Revolution, and then lots of foreign companies arrived here to Slovakia, and these policies of the law really came valid, like do not smoke in the office, it's forbidden, no way you will drink alcohol, and they were sending these health safety people to check, etc. Funny is when that person from health and safety was actually joined. It's even more funnier. And of course now, and it's 30 years after the Velvet Revolution, you would not even think to drink at work. If someone would offer, you would go like, no, because you're in the office. It wouldn't even literally scratch your mind. So, and I shouldn't say that out loud, but if someone is like my good performer and he comes to work and I can smell the alcohol, I would just go and tell him, go home. Just go home, take self-recovery.
So in this case, why? Because the person who reported to you said it's official, that this is why it came that far, or was it because of a different reason?
No, because he said it's official report and I had to delete official. So that was the weirdest one.
Yeah, I don't envy you this kind of job or any manager.
Also, the like super hard. I'm just thinking whether I had to. No, super hard one is when you need to fire people because of. Let's say company made a decision that they're gonna cancel the whole department here and gonna move it. So I never had a situation. Sometimes companies make decisions that they're gonna cancel whole department here and move it to a different country, or totally they're gonna outsource it or whatever. And I didn't have that experience yet where I had to tell my employees, guess what, we're gonna lose the job or something. I was only dealing with employees that were low performers, didn't follow, their task, etc. And at the end, it resulted in the end of the contract. I had that, and that's something I'm not afraid to do at all. It is lots of administration behind. I don't take it as one of the hardest tasks. That's your job as a manager. Because at the end, it's the team that suffers. If you have a not only low performer team member, but not even reliable team member, and then the others have to do the job. That's just not fair for the others. It does require lots of administration behind, but I had no issue to follow that because I need to take care of the rest of the people. So that I had no issue. The super stressful part for me was when I was offering a job to a person, and I told this person, you can quit the company where you are at, I'm giving you the offer. Will you accept it? And the person said, yes, okay. Went to the company and said, I'm quitting. I sent the email to my HR person, please provide the contract. And then a day later, the HR wrote me back, we have hiring freeze. And that created the biggest stress in my head because it wasn't that the company I represent would look bad in front of that employee, potential employee. It was my name that I was the one giving you an offer and you quit in your current job. You would lose the job because of me. I was like, oh my God, and so I was angry at the HR person because if he did it the day I sent that email, there wasn't the freeze. The freeze came the next day. So that's one thing. Second thing, I was like, okay, you put me in this situation. You need to tell me what kind of steps I need to do to get out of this situation. Because there is no way that a person would suddenly lose the job because of me. I'm like, hello. And so he told me all the regulations for how to request an exception when there is a hiring freeze, etc. And so I stayed up until 1:30 a.m. because all of my upper management were in US, and I was explaining every single one of them the business case, what would happen if we don't hire the person, what would be the effect, the money loss, all of that. And I went one by one, retrieving up to the VP all of the approvals.
Wow.
So by 1:30 a.m., I had all the approvals. I collected them, sent them to my HR person. I woke up the next morning, called the HR guy, and I said, you have now everything and you will do it now. Not 30 minutes later, not 1 hour later, not the next day, now. And of course we got her in, etc. But that was my most stressful situation, because that's when you realize that you are making decisions that influence someone else's life.
Yes.
My brother didn't have that luck. In a way that he left the job and he was supposed to sign a contract with another company. And so he left, he was without a job. He resigned. And when he was supposed to meet the guy, he stopped picking up the phone.
Oh no.
So he got total silence for like 2 days before he was supposed to sign the contract. And then the day when he was supposed to sign, he got the message that, no, we are not hiring. Thank you.
Oh, that's just messed up.
Whoa.
And he was
What's
like,
the
what
company name?
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I would mention it if I knew, but I don't. So.
And that's the thing, that you not only represent the brand name of the company, but you are also representing your own brand, right? And I would say it's okay if companies make this decision, hiring freeze or whatever, but it's fair to communicate, because then you on the other side can make those decisions. And my big lessons learned: until the contract is signed, do not quit in your current job.
Me too.
That's my suggestion. Like literally, guys, unless you have the brand new contract signed, do not quit wherever you are. Because sometimes it was like this. I went to HR and the next day was hiring freeze. And it can happen. So
it is mostly about the big companies. I think the smaller companies have advantage in this. If you're like 40 people there and they say they are going to hire you, they are going to hire. That there is no HR freezes or stuff like that. They know they need someone, and that's it. So this is more about the bigger companies, that it's somehow a risk.
Yeah.
For their own stability really and brand and huge name and countless number of employees, they are the risk.
Yeah, it's strange, but it's the truth. It's the truth. That was my stressful thing. And also at the top, I left the computer. So I had the computer at home, and it was just like, my brain was like, what do I need to do to fix this? And then I sit behind the computer, work till 1:30, and I left the computer also on the table. And so in the morning, when my husband came to the kitchen, he got so angry because he suddenly saw a laptop on the table. He looked at me and he said, were you working during the night? And I was like, yes. And then he started, are you normal? This is not normal. You are not supposed to work during the night. You're supposed to sleep. So that was like really lots of stress. And I tried to explain to him what was going on, but it was really hard. He got it like much later, but it was so hard that I even made a mistake that I forgot to put the laptop back in the bag just to hide the evidence of me working till late night. So mental health and work-life balance is sometimes very hard to maintain, especially when a manager, because also, and you know the sentence, lead by example. And sometimes you are just so due diligent towards the work. But again, as a manager, you are on a constant stage. People observe you all the freaking time. And that means that if, let's say I'm a due diligent person, I just want to do this task, etc., and I send an email, whatever, finish work at 8 p.m. But does that mean I'm also creating a stress towards my team members, that I'm showing them you need to work longer hours? That's a requirement. And I need to make sure that I'm fully aware of that. And I need to explain to my own team members, guys, don't follow me. Just because I did it by 8 p.m., that's my own decision, because I know this task is important. I wanted it to finish it that day, even though it took till 8 p.m. But guess what? I'm going to take off and leave work earlier the next day. Please do not follow me, because I'm then making this unprecedented situation where my team members might think that that's a requirement, that, oh, the company wants us to work longer hours because if she does it, then, and you need to make it clear and make those expectations clear, that no, don't do that.
Did you have a lot of stressful situations like this? How did you deal, Kat?
So I was thinking that was the most stressful I've had, at least for me. But I thought that I'm actually handling the role like pretty good. Like, I'm okay, I'm fine. And maybe that's a good question to speak about the unspoken health issues that come along with it. And I remember I was already 6 months in the position as a manager. And it's very important when you manage it that you have other managers as friends, as your mentors, someone to talk to, because you will discuss lots of confidential things and these people can talk to you about. And I had every morning, I came to work, was something about 8 a.m. We parked our cars always next to each other, went on the first floor on a coffee place, we talked, and then by 9 we start working. And I was telling her, like, girl, these days I have such a horrible headaches, and even Panadol is not working anymore. Like, and I was taking 2 Panadols every day and it just didn't work. And she looked at me, and she was already 10 years manager. And she told me, I still remember it till today, Kat, and do you have a hair loss? Do you have a sleep loss? Do you have psoriasis? And she just started naming very strange health issues. And I was looking at her like, wait a minute, what are you saying to me? I'm like, that's not what I signed up for. And she was like, no, that's stress. I'm like, but I don't feel being stressed. No, maybe you mentally don't, but your body is now showing you are in stress. And I also start having those psoriasis in my hair. It's like really big sort of flakes, red ones. And then I went to my skin doctor. She gave me corticoids to deal with it. But that was, it didn't deal with the issue that created it. It was dealing with the symptoms that I just had right now. And that's when I started to realize, okay, I need to learn somehow to work on long terms, how to get rid of the stress or be able to maintain it without, or maybe even acknowledge it that I am in stress. And what am I going to do? So at that time, I've changed the job. I stayed as a manager, but I changed department and wanted to see whether it was because of the workload and the type of the work I had in that job, or because it's a manager. But it was the type of the workload, because all the symptoms stopped once I changed the business, for example. Even my headaches stopped.
Do you think sometimes some managers kind of like as a defense mechanism, they will stop trying to do their job well?
It's like with every job. Doesn't matter whether you're a manager or whatever you are. You sort of just start doing was really, really requested as a part of the job. And the rest you just go like, meh. The pity is when you are just an employee, it might not be that visible because if you are the member of let's say 29 people, it can get lost somewhere there. Whereas if you stop doing your job as a manager, it's kind of very visible because suddenly you have, let's say, 29 members of your team super frustrated. Again, depends on the country and the culture. We Slovak people somehow don't fight for our own rights, and we do not report the manager to his or her manager. Like, hey, my manager is not doing this. And we will complain among of ourselves or at home, but we will not do anything about that situation. That way we'll never learn to fight for our own rights. Or worst case scenario, you make the decision, I quit, and you go somewhere else. But then the company is losing talented people because of one manager. Is it worth it? I don't think so. Kovac, you're like in this thinking mode.
Yeah. I'm in thinking mode because what we are mentioning here, I think I don't think that the managers are special in this, so I'm gonna disagree there with you. But I was thinking about a situation that you, even when you were a manager, or each manager has another manager, unless you're a CEO. That's I think that when you don't have a manager. But
then you have stakeholders.
yeah. But I can imagine that it's gonna be a really difficult situation when you have your manager and you need to go even one layer above. So to meet the upliner and report that one of your managers is not behaving well or something like that. So, like skipping the line or whatever, bypassing that. And I was wondering like how tough it had to be for any employee and to go for the upline. I can't imagine me doing it, like going for my manager sucks and you need to deal with it. Like, what?
I did it once. I reported my manager once. And that's what we will talk next time. And whether I would do it again or whether I would do it differently because of now these years of experiences. But I did report it to my manager. And that's how we're going to end today's session. Guys, thank you for listening. Sugashasmida.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice day. Čaute.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.